What is a marketing strategy and how can it help you succeed in the digital space in 2022? Hi everyone, it is Leanne Cohen's here, Digital Success Catalyst and owner of Marketing Leap. With the beginning of the year, well, any time of the year really, but most people tend to, with the businesses start at the beginning of the year, start looking at your strategy and mapping out how you're going to be showing up in the online space throughout the year. So one of my favorite sayings, or favorite quotes, is from Sun Tzu, which is strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. And tactic without strategy is the noise before defeat. It's all well and good to have lots of different tactics when it comes to showing up online, and some great tactics of, what to do on Instagram or how to do a post on Facebook. But if you don't have a strategy in place, you are not going to get anywhere. In actual fact, the definition of strategy is a plan of action designed to achieve a long-term or overall aim. So the whole idea of putting a marketing strategy in place is to actually help you get business growth. With business growth comes more money, and it helps you to help more people and really set out to achieve the goals that you've set for starting your own business and running your own business. So there's a couple of things that you really need to do. The first one is always determining your objectives or your goals, defining exactly what the goals are that you want to reach, because it's like anything. If you don't have a goal in place, or if you don't have an end in sight, it's literally like getting in the car and hoping that you turn up in Sydney, whereas if you don't have a plan, or you're not following a roadmap or have some kind of strategy to get there, you could end up in Cairns. A couple of questions to note down is, what is your goal or your outcome? What is it that you really want to achieve from your marketing and from showing up online? The next question is, what is your reason why? Why did you start a business in the first place? What was your reason for letting go of the 9 to 5, or you're not having that security of a paycheck and wanting to have your own business and become an entrepreneur? Then the next question to ask yourself is, how are you going to measure these marketing efforts? Now, it doesn't matter what tactics you're using, whether it's doing Instagram Reels or doing stories on Facebook or doing articles on LinkedIn. With every single tactic that you do, you need to be test and measuring all the time. You've got to have a way of measuring the outcome of what you're doing, because your most precious commodity as a business owner is your time. So if you are not measuring what you're doing and tracking the results, you're effectively wasting your time. Then the next question to ask yourself is, what are the top 3 things that you want to achieve with your marketing? That could be more sales, it could be more traffic to your website, it could be just a greater engagement across the board, building your brand and having more people know who you are and what you stand for. And then the final question, or the 5th question, is to actually make a note of what actions you really want your target audience to take. Do you want them to like? Do you want them to share? Do you want them to download something or sign up and give you their email address? Do you want them to actually buy from you or sign up to a course that you're doing? So they're the first 5 questions that you really need to nut out before you get started. The next step is knowing exactly who your ideal customer is, because there are 103 different social media platforms out there at the moment. You do not need to be on every single one. There are 6 core social media platforms that most entrepreneurs and business owners are on. Again, if your ideal customer is not hanging out there, you do not need to waste your time showing up on there. Knowing exactly who your target audience is so vitally important, because again, it's like getting in that car and hoping that you get to Sydney, but you end up, in Cairns or the top end somewhere. So it's not just understanding the demographic data. It's actually understanding their needs and their wants and what it is that keeps them up at night. Because when you show up online, you've literally got seconds to get their attention, and they need to see and hear you 22 times. So if you're not resonating with them, when they see your message, if it's not connecting with them, again, you're wasting your time. Have a think about what's their age range, what's their profession. Like I said, are the main key points that keep them up at night. What is the information that they're looking for? What is, some of the answers that you can provide? From all of that, and having an understanding of the demographics is important. But it will also determine then, once you have all that listed out, exactly which marketing platforms they're going to show up on. And I did a video a couple of weeks ago where I actually went through, it's fairly lengthy, but in the comments I've actually listed out the time points. So if you want to see what the demographics are for Facebook, you can go to that particular timestamp. But all the demographics for, I think there's about 9 of the main social media platforms. So that'll give you a really good understanding of where you should be showing up and where you should be spending your time when it comes to being online. So once you've worked out what your goals are and you've worked out who your ideal target audience is, the next most important thing is your messaging, and making sure that your messaging and your positioning statement is actually showing your ideal customer how you fill their need, how you fix their problem, how you make their life better in a way that your competitors don't. Even after 8 years of having an agency, a marketing agency, I've actually just gone through this process with Lauren Clement, who's a branding specialist from Audacious Agency, purely just to revisit exactly, where my messaging is standing and, how I'm showing up online as well. Because it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have, and it doesn't matter how far down the track you are, it's always a good idea to revisit where you stand, to make sure that you are reaching your ideal clients, to make sure that people do understand how you can make their life better and why they should work with you. And that's where your messaging is so important. And again, ultimately, when people get online, they get online to be entertained or because they want to learn something. For you as a business owner, your job is to make sure that when you show up, you are constantly fulfilling that need, and you're constantly letting people know how you can make their life better. You let them know how they can work with you, the benefits of working with you. And that's where your messaging comes in. It's not a hard sell. It's literally adding value and just sharing information on a regular basis. As I said, once you've worked out who your ideal audience is, the fourth thing is then showing up where they are online. And this is probably the first time that tactics actually come into play, because this is where you start getting an understanding of the different algorithms and the different platforms so that you can make the most of your time. For instance, if your ideal client is a business person and they're predominantly on LinkedIn, then that's where you would start spending the time understanding the tactics of LinkedIn, having a look at the analytics and finding out exactly when your ideal clients are online on LinkedIn, so that when you post, you're posting when they're online. And again, as I said, I did a video at the end of last year, which was actually called Best Social Media Platforms for Business Growth in 2022. So you can check that out for more information. And then finally, the fifth thing is tracking your objectives. What gets measured grows. If you are not tracking and you're not measuring what you're doing, again, all the work that you've done previously is a waste of time. And every single platform has insights and they have information and ways for you to actually track what's going on that particular platform. I've done a video on Google Analytics if you want to see how your website is tracking, if you want to see where people are coming from, who are the best drivers of traffic to your website. And sometimes that can be really interesting and quite surprising. We had a client that we were doing quite a bit of SEO for, and every month when we ran the reports and ran through the reports with the client, Pinterest was actually coming up. Now, they were in the building industry, so there were a lot of women that were actually pinning their kitchens and all the information and pictures that they were putting up on Pinterest and saving them to boards. If they weren't tracking their objectives, they would never have known to actually spend a little bit more time on a tactic like Pinterest. For you as a business owner, tracking your objectives is really, really important. Block out time every month. Block out, even if it's 1 to 2 hours, to actually go through the analytics and the insights. And most people these days are actually using social media hosting platforms. I do have another video that actually runs through the main ones and gives you the pros and cons of those. But they will actually give you insights as to what's driving the most traffic, what's getting you the most engagement, what people are liking and what they're not liking, what they're not resonating with. So blocking out time in your calendar every single month is essential. And again, asking yourself some simple questions. Are you on track to reach your goal and your outcome? Are you in alignment with your why? Because it's all well and good to be running a business and being busy and doing all this stuff, but if ultimately you're not happy and you're not reaching people and helping people the way that you want, and you're not getting fulfillment from what you're doing, you're in the wrong industry. Again, the third question is, what is the hard data of your marketing efforts? Start tracking the engagement, the likes, the shares, the comments, the sales. What are the top 3 things that you're actually achieving? Are you building your brand? Are you getting more sales? Or are you just literally getting more engagement? And then again, looking at, is it converting to sales, and is it actually giving you a solid return on your investment for what you're doing? There are 5 ways that you really, or 5 things that you really need to put in place when it comes to setting up your marketing strategy and having that aligned so that you can actually have business growth in 2022, because our world is getting busier, our time online, most people are online most of the time, but again, you've got to make sure that when they connect with you, they're actually resonating with what it is that you do and they understand how you can help them. So if you're not sure on how any of this works, I do have a 16-page strategy messaging planner which goes through all of these steps, and it actually shows you how to map out who your ideal client is, start tracking some of the return on your investments, figure out what it is that you need to be tracking. I also have a social media posting checklist just to make sure that when you are doing certain tactics, you're making the most of your time. So I'll put the links to those below this video. And if you're not sure about how any of this works, comment below, reach out. Let's have a bit of a chat, and let's see how I can help you grow your business in 2022 with marketing online. So in the meantime, guys, have an amazing week, and I will see you next week, same time. I'll see you then. Bye for now. If you'd like to learn more about how to grow your business online and how to develop a really great marketing presence so that your ideal clients can not only find you, but they know exactly what it is that you do and actually want to work with you, then make sure you click the subscribe button below. And don't forget to click the bell so you get notified every single time our weekly videos go up and go live.